Let's review a few things first. So if we look, we remember that elements in group 1 have 1 valence electrons. Elements in group 2 have 2 valence electrons. Group 13 has 3, group 14 has 4, group 15 has 5, 6, 7, and 8, respectively. Remember, valence electrons are the electrons in the outermost energy level. Last week we learned about our electron configurations. So hydrogen, for example, was 1s1. Lithium was 1s2, 2s1. Remember, we always start at the first row and the first column, so that would always be hydrogen. We have the S, P, D, and F blocks down here. So we have to just count and fill each element as we go along. So we had 1s, 1s2. There can be only 2 electrons in the s orbital. There can be 6 electrons in the p orbital. The d orbital has 10, and the f has a total. Oh, that didn't work. For some reason, has a total of 14. So my pen just doesn't want to cooperate. So 14, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. Now, when we look at this, and we're going to remember our valence electrons. Everything in group 2 has 2 valence electrons. Everything in group 1 has 1 valence electron. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, respectively. Now, when we were writing our electron configurations, we had 1s1 for hydrogen. For lithium, it was 1s2, 2s1. For sodium, it would be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 2s1. So do you notice a trend here? Everything's ending in S1, right? Potassium, and that would be 3s1. Potassium would end with 4s1. Rubidium would end with 5s1. Cesium would end in 6s1. And francium would end in 7s1. That 1 corresponds to the 1 valence electron. If we did neon, for example, so we're going to do neon, it's 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Now you look at the electrons in the outermost energy level. 2 is the outermost energy level. It has 2 sublevels, but they're both in energy level 2. So then you'd add these two together, 6 plus 2, and that gives you your 8 valence electrons. Now that we've done a little review here, let's talk about doing the Lewis dot structures. Say we wanted to do the Lewis dot structure for lithium. We know that it's in group 1, so it's going to have 1 valence electron. So we come back here, and you draw the element symbol. Which is Li. Then you imagine there's an imaginary box around here. There isn't really, but we just pretend, and you just put the first dot to represent 1 electron around it. So then your electron dot diagram would look something like this. There's just 1 there. All right, now let's look at, so we had lithium, which looked like this. Now let's look at something in the second column. Let's look at calcium here. So calcium's in the second column. Because calcium's in the second column, group 2 has 2 valence electrons. So I write my element symbol. Remember, the second letter is always lowercase. And remember, we have our little box, pretend box. You don't draw the box. I'm just doing it for visual effects. And then you write 1 on one portion of the box, and your second one goes here. You're going to fill it in clockwise direction. So 1 on each side until you have no more. For subsequent ones, I'm not going to do my little box, imaginary box. So let's look at one that's in group 13. Now group 13, we'll look at boron. Remember, group 13 has 3 valence electrons. So let's come down here, and we're going to do boron. We start at the top, go to the right, we go to the bottom. Now we've done boron. Here we're going to do carbon. Carbon is in group 14. Right here, group 14, so it has 4 valence electrons. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's look at, we'll do arsenic. It's in group 15, so it's 5. So let's do here 5. Oops. Arsenic, and it has 5. So we start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that we've got all sides, we start right back at the top again, and we pair them up. Each side can have no more than 2. So we've got argon. Now let's do sulfur. Sulfur's right here. It's in group 16. So since it's in group 16, it has 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know my electrons don't do a good job of coloring in. Now let's do one that has 7. We'll do bromine. So bromine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there we go. And then, of course, if we do argon, look here, argon is in group 18, so that is 8 valence electrons. Argon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that's how you draw Lewis dot diagrams.